Greywind Manor, cloaked in legends of terror and whispered horrors, beckons the brave and the foolhardy alike. On a whim spurred by youthful audacity, Jack, Sarah, Emily and Alex set their sights on this brooding mansion. Each, driven by a mix of thrill and fear, hoped to peel back the veil of night and peer into the unknown. Their journey to Greywind was more than a test of courage. It was a pilgrimage to the heart of darkness, a quest intertwined with their own shadows. As they drew closer, the air grew heavy, charged with an ominous silence that promised to reveal more than just the secrets of an old, forsaken house. The first sight of Greywind Manor under the cloak of darkness was a portrait of despair. The manor loomed like a spectre, its silhouette a jagged scar against the night sky. The ancient trees surrounding it whispered secrets of old, their branches clawing at the void. As the group approached, each step seemed heavier, the wind itself mourning with a ghostly wail.
Sarah's intuition screamed turn back, but curiosity, that relentless siren, urged them forward. The manor awaited, its doors gaping like the mouth of a giant beast, ready to swallow them whole.
Stepping into the foyer of Greywind Manor was like crossing into another realm. The air was thick, laden with the musk of decay and the iron tang of blood long dried. Their flashlights pierced the darkness, casting long, sinister shadows that seemed to twitch with a life of their own. Echoes of the past filled the air, a low moan of the wind through broken windows, the distant drip of water.
Emily, gripping her flashlight, whispered, "It feels like we're not alone." And indeed, it seemed as though the house itself watched them, breath bated, in the oppressive silence.
The hallways of Greywind Manor were a maze designed to confuse and conceal. Wallpaper peeled like decaying skin off the walls, revealing patches of mold that pulsed dimly in the flashlight's beam. Every corner seemed to promise new horrors. Every door creaked on its hinges as though protesting their invasion.
Jack led the way, his voice a whisper. "Keep close. This place doesn't play fair." As they delved deeper, a cold draft snaked around their ankles, a silent reminder that the manor was more than stone and wood. It was a living, breathing entity.
The grand ballroom of Greywind Manor was a spectacle of decayed opulence. Spiderweb-laced chandeliers hung precariously overhead, swaying gently as if in time to a silent waltz. The floorboards groaned under their weight, the sound a mournful song of ages past.
"Do you hear that?"
Sarah paused, her breath catching. The air seemed to thicken, and the faint, eerie sound of music trickled through the air. A piano playing softly somewhere in the depths of the manor.
She murmured, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination.
It was Alex who first heard it, a soft, chilling giggle that seemed to float down the staircase. The sound was so out of place, so disturbingly innocent, that it rooted them to the spot.
"Did you hear that?"
he asked, his voice a thread of unease. The giggle came again, closer this time, a sound that seemed to mock their dread. With a collective breath, they moved toward the staircase, drawn by the ghostly laughter that beckoned them upwards into the heart of darkness. The attic of Greywind Manor was a chamber of forgotten tragedies. Dust lay thick over everything, shrouding trinkets and toys in a blanket of time. In the dim light, broken dolls stared with empty eyes, their smiles cracked and eerie.
"It wants to come through."
At the room's center stood a large mirror, its surface dull with age. Emily, drawn inexplicably to it, wiped away the grime. Her reflection was absent, replaced by a gaunt spectral figure that pressed its palm against the glass. Her heart skipped.
She breathed, stepping back as the figure's fingers traced the other side of the mirror.
Jack's curiosity led him to a secluded library. its shelves burdened with ancient books.
One tome, bound in unsettlingly textured leather, caught my attention.
As he opened it, the air grew colder, the words on the page shimmering and shifting as if alive. Whispers filled the room, slithering into his ears, speaking of dark rites and forgotten pacts.
These words, they're not meant for human eyes.
Alex, driven by an unknown force, descended into the basement.
The air was thick, cloying, heavy with the odor of decay.
Chains rattled in the distance, the sound a stark reminder of the manor's darker history. His flashlight flickered, revealing fleeting glimpses of figures chained to the walls, their eyes hollow with despair.
They reached out to me, mouths agape in silent pleas for salvation.
Alex recoiled, the flashlight falling from his trembling hand.
We're not alone, not at all.
Regrouping in the attic, they found the doorway gone, replaced by cold, unyielding wall. Panic flared like wildfire. The temperature dropped, their breath visible in the icy air. Then the laughter returned, now a cacophony of shrieks and howls that filled the room with madness. They were not guests in Greywind Manor, they were prisoners. S2, it's a trap. Surrounded by darkness, the past inhabitants of Greywind Manor appeared. Their faces, twisted by betrayal and anguish, flickered in and out of the shadows. "We are the forgotten," they whispered, "betrayed by our own blood." The students huddled together, the spectral stories weaving around them, a tapestry of grief and revenge. With each tale, the walls of the manor seemed to weep, the sorrow of centuries seeping into their very souls. Desperation led them to a hidden passage behind the attic wall. Crawling through, they navigated damp, constricting tunnels, the walls rough and unyielding. Darkness enveloped them, a thick blanket that threatened to smother their spirits. The passage seemed endless, a winding descent into despair, but determination drove them onwards. Finally, the sweet, cold air of dawn greeted them as they emerged, stumbling into the light forever changed. As they left Greywind Manor behind, the sun rose, casting light on their pale, haunted faces. They had escaped, but the manor had taken its toll. Shadows clung to them, whispers followed them into their dreams.
It's over.
Jack looked back once, his eyes dark, but they all knew it was a lie. Greywind Manor had etched itself into their very beings, a dark part of them now. Greywind Manor stands, a monument to the doors we dare to open and the darkness we invite into our lives. For Jack, Sarah, Emily and Alex, their night at the manor was a journey into the heart of fear itself. They learned that some thresholds once crossed mark us forever. Their story serves as a chilling reminder that curiosity can lead not just to answers, but to soul-shaking revelations. In the end, the true horror of Greywind Manor was not just its ghosts, but the mirror it held up to their deepest fears.